Alright, welcome back to the channel, guys. I know it's been a little bit, but kind of feel a little bit motivated to do a video. I get all excited when the weather changes. We have snow in the forecast. So, there's a few things. I've been kind of clearing out the garage here, getting the summer stuff put away, the lawnmower put away, and the trailer and all that. And I am going to be kind of setting up all of our gear. Right here I got the Rhino, and that Rhino is going to be, this year it's going to be the snowplow. At the very end of the year last year I picked up the snowplow, but I never really got a chance to use it. So this year I think we're going to be using the plow more. It's a little bit overkill for our neighborhood or our driveway here. But my plan is, if this thing works really good, I'm going to try to bring this up to the property and see if I can do a couple passes up there and just try to keep that road clearer, for the majority of the winter. Usually what happens about January, the snow comes in, and then it's just like you can't get in there until May or June. It's like, I'd love to go up there and just periodically drive this up and at least make a few passes so that we can hike in or walk in or hopefully drive in. But it's supposed to be a pretty cold winter this year, so we're getting ready for that. Also, I just picked up a single stage snowblower. Last year I had a two-stage snowblower. Was not my favorite. It just didn't work all that good. This thing's going to be good because it'll scrape. These have let me show you here. These have scrapers, like these kind of paddles on them, and that will scrape the sidewalk or the driveway really easily. But I'm going to check the carburetor because it looks a little gunky in there, and I might just pull the float bowl off, just see what's in there. So I'll bring you along for that. We'll just take a quick look in there. I'm not going to get into it. The jets don't seem plugged or anything. They're pretty easy to work on, honestly. There's not a whole lot to it. So it's a two-stroke. So there's no oil changes or anything like that. So we'll give that a try this year. But yeah, I'm gonna probably take a quick look at that right now, and I'll just kind of show you what I find. See if we see anything weird in there. Wipe it out and get it cleaned up, and then we'll put the. I got to put the. So right now I have a winch cable system. So it's a steel cable right here. On the winch. It's like 50 feet of it, I think. And I got to put the synthetic line on here. I use that. It's like 10 feet or 6-8 feet of synthetic line, and that's just a little safer. And if it breaks, I can kind of retie it and everything. But we'll get that all set up, and probably a little bit early to get this set up, but I mean, it's fine. We'll just get it ready to go, and I can always put this cable back on pretty easy. So let's get going here and see what we have. Okay, let's take a look at what we got here. I think I can just tip this up. What you don't want is fuel to leak out everywhere. And I think by tipping that up, it's going to put the gravity at our advantage here. Oh yeah, it's already dripped. It looks pretty nasty, doesn't it? Ugh. Alright, well, gotta get that fixed. Let's just see, it's going to drip out everywhere, I'm sure. Let's just see. Yeah, it's not too bad, actually. I got floaters in there. Got little pieces of, looks like pieces of gasket right there. It's crispy gasket in there. So the float itself looks very clean, but I'm getting little pieces. It's pretty brittle. I'll probably need to order. I could probably just go up to the store. They have a pretty good small engine shop in this area. Just to make sure. Looks fairly Scotch-Brite in here. Alright, so let's just get that cleaned up. I don't know. Just get that rust out of there. It's just been sitting there, and if there was rust, then that's another indication that he was using non-ethanol, or using ethanol, corn-based fuel, and that's what happens. Is it rusts and corrodes and just wrecks everything on these small engines. So we'll get that pretty clean. That's pretty good. But there's just debris and stuff in there, rust. I mean, a two-stroke like this with oil mixed in with the gas really shouldn't have any rust like that, unless you're using ethanol. Let's make it look, there we go. Glad we took care of that. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's go start it up. I might put the cover back on. Key on, pump it twice. 2. Turn choke all the way to the right. And just pull. So we'll call that done. I think so far, unless something happens when I put power to it or put a load on it, it looks like it's running pretty darn good. You saw first pull. That was cold start. It's running really, really good. So let's move on to the snowplow. Let it air out in here a little bit. Get rid of some of that two-stroke smoke. Need to get a new one of those. That's all torn up. I got quite a bit of fraying here, so I got to be kind of careful. So I got a little, I'm stuck here. So I'll try to show you what I'm doing here. Gotta pull them up, get a little more leverage. There we go, got it. Just need some more leverage. Okay, let's continue pulling this out. It's probably. Alright, so the way these work, this is a Warren Pro Vantage 3,500 pound winch. The way this works is to hold this cable in, it goes through this hole and then it kind of wedges around this puck in there, and I just by pushing it, I've loosened it up, and I don't want to lose that little disc. It's a little tiny disc that just came loose. It's just floating there, so I'm going to take this magnet actually from this thing. There we go. And that's all there is to it. It's like this little, let me put it on the magnet here. It's this little tiny, you see that? Little tiny disc. You can't lose that. And you can buy them, they're really cheap. And then basically you just kind of, let me just put this back. Put this light on here so you can see it. You just basically push this through like that deal, and then that comes free. So now you should be able to just like unhook this thing, spin it around, boom, and it just comes right off, and then you just got this, frayed out loop thing. So basically you can put on synthetic line or whatever you want, but that's the way these hook on, this particular one. There's no crimping or anything. And this thing, I just run that line through the fair lead. You need a synthetic line fair lead, but I'm using this for lifting a snowplow, so I don't need that. I actually probably am going to put a little pulley on the front of this thing at some point, if I can find one. Now, before you hook a snowplow up to one of these machines, you've got to install a plate under here. And I did this last year at the end of the season. I didn't film it, but that can just stay on the whole time. You don't really notice it. I guess you could, if you're really rock crawling or doing some crazy stuff, I guess you could bend it up or something, but it hasn't been a problem. All you do is hook these little pins in like that, and, clip them down, and that's kind of all there is to it. Not that hard to do. that's on. So that's our plow. It's hooked up. What we've got to do now is hook this on. So I'm trying to remember how I did this. I think I just remembered. I take the shackle here, and we take the snatch block right here, and you got to run this cable, the synthetic line, in here like this. Okay, and then we got to anchor it to this point. I tried some different stuff last year with they make some different things that change the leverage, and it just didn't work. This seemed to work the best. It was the easiest on the winch, which, you know, the most expensive part of this thing is this winch, so I figure it's probably best to be nice to that thing. So now what we got to do is, this is going to double our leverage on the plow and actually slow down the speed. I find with the snatch block like this, it actually slows it down really nice, so it's easier to control. And I already have this hooked on, so what I'm going to do is just hook this loop through there, and then we're good to go. Basically, I'm going to have to like tighten this up a little bit. I've been kind of running this little sheath thing through there. I know I'm not supposed to do that, but I figure it's just one more layer of protection on that rope, and this gets used a lot. So basically, I control it with this little thing here that lifts my plow and that drops it. So good to go. We're ready for the snow to hit. It's a good plow. It actually works pretty darn good. So. Yeah, so today we're up at the property. I'm taking the Rhino out. I don't have a ton of time to talk because the sun's going down and I want to get this done as soon as possible, but basically I was able to get the Rhino out here before the snow came in and turned all hard and crusty. Still pretty, I mean, it's starting to pack down, so it is getting a little thick, but I was able to get it up here and plow it out. So at least we can kind of get the road cleared out and keep it to where we can come in, you know, extend the season a little bit longer with the cabin. I'm going to take a little shovel and kind of clean up some of this area manually, but I'm going to run this thing around here and just kind of try to get it all clear, and because we're going to get dumped on again here pretty soon, and you know, I figure if we keep it down, you know, around a foot, I can manage that. I can take this little plow that we have, and that thing works awesome, by the way. KFI Plow system, it's working perfect. So I was able to plow most of the way up, going uphill, in spite of the, you know, this thing being really lightweight. I'd lift it up a little bit around this little steep corner thing we have, but I'll have to plow that going downhill. It's not a problem. But other than that, everything's looking good. It looks like that snow is going to come off the roof anytime. And then before I turn around, I'm going to take a look inside the cabin and see how everything's doing. But let's do I'm going to do a quick little pass over here and get that taken care of, and then we'll see how it goes. All right, so as you can see, that was me coming up. So I was scraping that way. Now I'm going to scrape it to the right and see if I can widen out a path wide enough to drive on. Let's lower it. It's going to be a little rough right here. Let's just get into it. Pretty rough spot. There you go. It's plowing away. See drive up here now, no problem. And yeah, this little plow does pretty darn good. I hit a few rocks, so I hope I didn't bend it up too bad, but yeah, you can really clear this off. I had about a foot of snow.